Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
You're listening to a special edition of the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, The Game Sports Show, live from Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill. Host Dave McCaig coming to you live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Booyah, and it's time for the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. You're listening to the show on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or through the Scott Neeson YouTube channel. It may have also been directed here through our Facebook page and or Instagram page at The Game Sports Show or at The Game Sports Show SSM, respectively. Either way, I want to say thank you for joining us here tonight. We're here live January the 29th, 2019 at Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill. Scott Neeson will be our board operator here tonight. Dave McCaig here live on location. I have Jamie Antonello joining me here tonight. And I'll be having Jamie come on in just a few moments as we get through the usual introduction portion. Here at Icebreaker Sports Bar and Grill for our edition here tonight, we have an action-packed show as always. We're going to be talking about the local hockey perspective here at Sault Ste. Marie. We're after our first break, which will be very shortly, actually. We're going to have Brad Coccimiglio come on by via telephone, who's going to talk about the Soo Greyhounds, Lake Superior State University Lakers. Then after that, we're going to have the head coach of the Korah Colts hockey team and also the athletic director at Korah, Greg Arbour, come on by to talk about the local high school scene, how Korah is doing, the overall high school league and hockey in general, and also some experiences that he had in life as well. Then to conclude the show, as Jamie will be joining us with the Greg Arbour interview, but to conclude it'll be myself sign off with some Sioux Thunderbirds and Sioux Eagles and Sioux College Cougars review and some bonus news in terms of the National Hockey League. And hint, hint, it's about Jake Muzzin going to the Toronto Maple Leafs. But without further ado, I'm going to introduce the guy who's going to be my co-host here tonight. There's going to be a part here in the show here, the intro and through the interview with Greg Arbour. Jamie Antonello, how you doing, sir? I know I'm going to probably tell you again how you doing and bring you back in the show, but I want to say thank you for taking the time to come on by here tonight.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a lot making me pull double duty during the week, but I mean, Hike does it pretty much every week, so I guess I can bite the bullet for one.
And I guarantee you, when I introduce you back on, I'll try to give you the same exact introduction. That'll be my challenge. See if I can give you the exact same introduction and pretend like you'll never hear. That'll be my challenge of the day today. Some random challenge. Without reviewing any tape. Producer Ghost might try to cheat and give me some tape. But either way, we have an action-packed show, and I'm very excited that you're able to get the connection to have Greg come on by. And it's great to talk about the local hockey scene because, I'll be honest, Jamie, we've had Greg talk about it, Craig Hartsburg talk about it to non-end, who's also part here with us on the Game Sports Show, about how the improvements can be from the level of hockey throughout the Pee-wee, from rep system, from all the different leagues, and how he feels it should be a lot of these individuals like Craig should be involved that have played that professional hockey level to really change the outlook on hockey. So I'm very excited to have Greg come on by. A lot of Greg action going on in one sentence. But, definitely be a good interview with him and getting the whole high school perspective on Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of pester Greg on a regular basis when I'm at Korah during high school football season, but I think he puts up with me. And no, he's a great guy. I mean, he does a fantastic job at Korah, and I know Korah hockey team's having a great year. They really built off of what they've had, what they kind of started. I know he's been coaching there for several years at this point now, but it's been an upswing the last few, big time, and they're building. And I mean, Big Bad St. Mary's. I mean, it's kind of tough. For a couple years there, they had every AAA kid pretty much come out and play, and I mean, having the biggest population, it's a big draw. You have more kids to pull from, so the fact that we're competing and hopefully, I mean, cross your fingers, and you'll hate me to say this, but that's the city final preview really is what it is. They've been the clear 1-2 and even tied and been flipping back and forth first and second this season, so excited to talk with him and get his perspective on the year.
It's definitely good. I know we were unable to have John Parko, the head coach of the Thunderbirds, be able to come on by here tonight, so we're going to cover everything local. And it's kind of in a different format, as I mentioned. We got Brad who's going to talk about the Hounds and Lakers after the break. Then we have the local high school scene. That the Game Sports Show hasn't covered the local high school scene in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario before, as it's been really obviously popular, the Soo Blue Devils over in Soo, Michigan. But then we're going to cover the NOJHL after. It's going to be kind of broken up opposed to just having something all in one, which would definitely be great. And here at Icebreakers, it's definitely a great atmosphere. We got the public skating going on. We got practices going on here at the John Rhodes Community Centre. Great place to come visit. As Jamie, myself, and also when Greg joins us, we're going to be in the VIP room is what it's actually called. We're feeling like very important people, Jamie. I guess we're getting the vibes of being, in terms of the public being very important, or do you think it's just the room name and we're just
I don't know. I think they're trying to cook us in here a little bit. I mean, I'm at a hockey rink. I'm not expecting to be this warm.
But it is minus 35 outside.
True, so I'll appreciate it when I go out to my car in a bit.
Yeah, my truck is probably still literally frozen. It's when you drive from my apartment over to here, it wasn't too long, and even after I left to work from the hospital to come here, it wasn't too long of a drive, so my truck was still cold. And it's a newer vehicle, though. It's absolutely freezing, so this is ridiculous. But it is, you know what that means when there's winter? It means there's hockey season. Outdoor rinks are just a booming right now. Well, I don't know if people are out there. I know when I went by Anna McRae last night that it was too cold to be out there. So make sure if you are outside, listeners, that you bundle up. Be nice and warm. Put on those toasty toes, whatever they're called. Put on those Sorel boots. Some long johns. You know, maybe not put on Saks underwear. Those are kind of too comfortable. Maybe put on some cotton Joe boxers, maybe, along with the long johns. And the sweater, you know, don't wear just a zip up and a hoodie, okay? You're going to put the parka on. You're going to put the gloves on and the hats. Definitely keep warm. It's very important that you do keep warm, as, you know, the weather is getting fiercely cold, and it's going to continue to be fiercely cold for the next little bit, it seems. But as I mentioned, when it's cold outside, that means here in Sault, Ontario, that it's hockey time. And also it's the same thing in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Now, Jamie, we've said what the agenda of the show is. We said where we are. We told the listeners where you're listening from. And we have an action-packed show to get to. So I can't use as much time in my usual introduction as I want to. And like I said, my challenge is the next time I bring you in, when Greg comes on, that I'm going to try to give you the exact same introduction. Let's see if I can pull it off. That's my challenge. I don't know if I can either. I don't know. We'll see. I might not bring it up afterwards. If I don't bring it up afterwards, that means I didn't hit the exact note. But as I mentioned, here after this first break, it's going to be myself and Brad Coccimiglio as Brad comes on the phone. And then we got more coming on with Greg Arbour, and also some NOJHL coverage and local hockey coverage and some bonus topics in this action-packed edition of the Game Sports Show here live at Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill. We're going to hear from our sponsors. And when we come back, Brad will be here. Don't go anywhere. The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Pulling Museum right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course, all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company. It's a northern thing.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and special edition home to the game, Silver Creek Golf Course, located on 104 Bellow Lake Road, Garden River, Ontario. And also shout out thank you to Silver Creek GM Jamie Henderson. Silver Creek Golf Course has many specials to offer for 18 holes, 9 holes, and even Twilight Deal specials. It does not matter what your level of golf game is, it is a must to enjoy the scenic course, memorable experiences that Silver Golf Course offers. Silver Creek also offers a Thursday wing night for you to enjoy food after a stellar time on the course. You can book your tee time by phone or online at golfsilvercreek.com. Silver Creek Golf Course, where all are welcome to play.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. You're listening to the show on thegamesportshow.com and its various outlets through the Podbean page and through social media. And I am here live at Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill, and I am joined alongside the Game Sports Show's own, the Soo Today's own, Sportsnet's own, one of the best guys, I should say, that I've ever met. One of the best looking guys, one of the best sports experts, whatever you'd like to say. Everything's just great about this guy, the one and only Brad Coccimiglio. Brad, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, after an intro like that, it couldn't be much better, pal. It's always fun to be on.
I always try to up my intros with you, and I want to tell you, like I said off the hop, that you're a great guy, and I'm speaking honestly from the heart when I say that, just so you know. I'm not trying to get your head any bigger or anything like that. I always speak the truth on the show, so I want you to know that. And
if you make my ego any bigger, Paul, I won't be able to get out the door.
No, and I like that too, because I'm the same way. I already got a big ego myself, so whenever anyone pumps me up, I actually do have a hard time getting through any kind of door or place that I'm in. And we have lots to talk about on this local show. We've rescheduled here at Icebreakers a couple times between last week and this week, and I've said at the top that I apologize to listeners for that, but yourself, myself, and also Justin and Scott Nason with the coverage here at local hockey has been absolutely insane. And when we do here on our show at Icebreakers is that we like to cover all the local sports and do a recap of the previous weekend and the upcoming games, and we want to give everyone a complete update. We don't want to have an update where there's a game missing of that, so that's why there's some alterations in terms of our schedule. So I'm happy that you're able to make time tonight of your busy schedule to come on by. You and I are only going to talk about the Soo Greyhounds and the Lake Superior State University Lakers. We're going to have a guest come on by, Coach Arbour with the Korah Colts, come and talk some high school hockey, which will be great, alongside Jamie Antonello, whom is on our Wednesday show, and we're going to have a lot more updates locally. But you and I are going to jump in and talk about Lake State and the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. So, Brad, getting started right underway. I want to start with LSSU. Okay, over in submission of the NCAA, Lake Superior State University Lakers played against Bemidji State this past weekend. They won 5-2 on Friday, and then they lost 5-3 on Saturday, splitting the games. You were in attendance at the games as per your social media, and that I liked. Another day in the rink for Brad Coccimiglio. I want to get your whole analysis about the game between with Lake State against Bemidji State.
Yeah, you know what I mean. That was a weekend that, for Lake State, it's one of those weekends that it was an important weekend for them, just because, they're, them and Bemidji are, kind of tight in the standings right now, and this is a Lake State team that's played some real good hockey here this year, and I was at Friday night's game. They pick up a very important win for them, and it was unfortunate that they couldn't cap off the sweep on Saturday, and for them, I think it was, it's been important for them to get wins like that against schools like Bemidji, and play well against schools like Minnesota State. They went into, they've went on the road recently and played some solid hockey. So, this is a team that's, that's battling for kind of positioning in the Western Collegiate standings right now. So that was kind of an important weekend, and they kind of come out of it. Almost the same way they went in. You can see that for both schools. I mean, they're battling for spots. They're battling for positioning heading into the playoffs. Because let's face it. I mean, the college season is a very short one. They're getting close to the end of their regular season already. They've got 2 more home weekends, and I believe they're on the road for a couple of weekends, and that's basically it. That's the end of their regular season. So. It's big for them down the stretch to, and especially considering the year they've had, it's big down the stretch for them to, to be playing good hockey. And, they've got some important series. They've got a couple series against Ferris State coming up, one in each rink. And, they've got Michigan Tech coming in, in a couple weeks. So, for them, the key is, and you can say this in any league, it's, it's basically any opportunity you need to pile on the wins. And, for them to get a split was good. I'm sure Damon Whitten was, pleased with Saturday, or with Friday's game rather, and, coming away with, an important win there. And, this is a team that's, like I said, in a very tight battle, and, any points they can get, any wins they can get here on in are going to be massive.
See, now Lake Superior State improves the record overall on the weekend despite splitting 16-8-2 overall. And the funny stat that sticks out to me, Brad, and this has been asked me by individuals that obviously are big followers of Lake State along with us here on the Game Sports Show, but away they are 10-2, and at home they're 4-6-2. Now, should the home fans in Sault Ste. Michigan be concerned of anything of such, or is that something that Lake State could potentially adjust as the season comes near an end? It's going to come more sooner as the playoffs, if you want to think, are essentially basically right around the corner. You have the month of February to go and a couple games in March. So is the home record a little bit of a concern to you at all in regards to that in comparison to the away record?
You know what? I mean, it's not ideal. And I'm sure if you ask any coach there, I'm sure there would be, a little bit of concern. But I always look at it as, as nice as it is to be playing at home, sometimes it's tougher to play in front of your home crowd. There's a little more pressure. You may be holding the sticks a little tighter. As cliche as that sounds, it's sometimes it's a little tougher to play on home ice than it is to play on the road. You go on the road and you're basically playing in front of a hostile crowd, and for you, they're not analyzing every single move you make on the ice. Where at home, your home fans are into it a little bit more, and as nice as it is, it's sometimes it's tough, right? Because fans are fans. They're gonna pick apart your game a little bit as well. So, I'm sure Lake State's looking at that, and I believe they have 4 home games left. So I'm sure they're going to be, they're going to be looking at making an improvement and making some adjustments there and seeing what they can do, at home to kind of make things work, so to speak. I'm sure it's a little bit. I'm sure it's something that Damon Whitten has noticed and is probably trying to make some adjustments here as the regular season winds down.
See, if you can cancel out their losses combined with the 8 total in the season, 6 of them are obviously at home, so they could have maybe improved the record. If they had, let's say, even a 500 record at home, they're 17-7, or if they're one game above 500, they're 18-6, something like that. So it's something that they might want to bring to the table. But I think people over in Sault, Michigan should be very excited about this team and the way they've been playing this year. It's a city or town or whatever we want to call Sault Ste, Michigan, because it's not as big as we are here in Sault, Ontario in terms of population, but they've been craving a successful hockey team with Lake Superior State. And going into their next action on Friday the 1st, they play at Ferris State at 7 o'clock, and on Saturday the 2nd, they play at Ferris State at 7 o'clock as well. Now, do you feel that going into their approach with Ferris State is going to be different than Bemidji State, or do you see them playing a similar game plan, or what should the fans expect from Lake State going against Ferris?
Yeah, you know what I mean. I think it's like a lot of teams. I mean, you're going to make adjustments in game. For Lake State, I mean, you're a team that's had a great year. I mean, this is probably one of the better years that the Lake State hockey program has had in a while. They've been in and out of the national rankings, off and on here the last 6 weeks, and they went on the road and won the Great Lakes Invitational, which was massive, right? So
yeah, massive.
With a program that's playing, as good as they are, I mean, I think it's, you keep the game plan the way it's been. You keep the same game plan in place, and you're obviously going to make adjustments in game depending on the opponent, right, and depending on what the opponent's throwing at you. But you can't change your game too much, because then you're creating the issue of you're learning new systems. You basically take the system you have in place and you tinker with it to the opponent, right? As opposed to making big changes, going into a weekend series. So, I feel like if I'm Damon Whitten, I'm kind of keeping things status quo and, just basically doing what works.
See, that would definitely be the game plan that I would follow, certainly. And now they return home against Michigan Tech, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, the 15th and 16th. And the game on the 16th is the Check, Slash, and Survive game against Michigan Tech. You can check that on their website for further information for Lake State when they play on Michigan. But that will be the following, couple weekends afterwards, as they play the 15th and the 16th against Michigan Tech. Now, Brad, transitioning from Lake State over to the Ontario Hockey League before we have to let you go. The Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds in action last week, giving kind of the weekly update for the Hounds. They played Saturday, January the 26th here at home, defeating Peterborough by the score of 8-2. And then they played against Kitchener on Sunday, losing overtime 4-3. Now, just going through those games, Brad, take us through the Saturday game and the Sunday game with what went right. Wow, say that 10 times fast. With the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds this past weekend. They did get a possible 3 out of 4 points, which I consider a successful weekend. And also, I really think that the Hounds, I'm hearing from some season ticket holders that They're blaming a lot of the refs for the game against Kitchener for various reasons. I've never really been a fan of that, but the Hounds either ultimately pull away with getting 3 out of a possible 4 points. Talk about the 2 games this past weekend with the Hounds before we go through this weekend's upcoming games quickly.
Yeah, just addressing the referee issue. The game against Kitchener on Sunday afternoon was extremely physical. It was extremely intense, and from my vantage point, there was no issue with the refereeing whatsoever. I almost feel like that's a bit of a, I want to say a cop-out a little bit. I don't think the refereeing was an issue in that game. For me, it was a very intense physical hockey game. There was a lot of post-whistle stuff, but it was a night where the Greyhounds came away pleased for the most part with that game. They had a slow start in the first period, but other than that was a hockey game that they played well in, and they made some adjustments in the second period, and that was the big positive, was the fact that after getting outplayed in the opening period, they managed to make some adjustments in game, and we talked about that with Lake State, about adjusting to your opponent in game, and they did that against Kitchener for the second and third period, and they get that game to overtime, and they've given themselves a chance to win. So that was a game that John Dean even said it's a game that could have gone either way, and that was just a very physical, well played hockey game. And what, for me, if I had paid to watch that hockey game, I would have probably came away really pleased with what I saw, just out of sheer enjoyment. Shifting over to the Saturday game against Peterborough, that score is a little misleading considering it was a 4-2 game until basically the final 2.5 minutes. And then the Greyhounds explode for 4 goals in like 94 seconds. So, that was a game where Peterborough was coming off, was ending a 3-3. It was a tough weekend for them. And it's not an excuse. I mean, that's just, the nature of the league, that you're going to play 3-3s. And, I think, for me, I feel like fatigue maybe caught up with them in the last, the final 5 minutes of that hockey game. And, that's when the Greyhounds really blew it open. But, that was a game where the Greyhounds played real well. And, Peterborough, their goaltending was really good in that game. Hunter Jones, who's up for the NHL draft this year, was really good, in that one. So that was a game where, like I said, the score's a little misleading considering it was a 4-2 hockey game until, the final 4 minutes. So, that was a game where, if I'm the Greyhounds, I'm happy with a lot of things as well. I'm happy with the ability for them to explode late and blow the game open. And, that was a game where they played well and, they did what they needed to do to win. And, like you said, coming out of a weekend with, 3 out of a possible 4 points is huge. And especially for a team that's battling with Saginaw right now for first place in the division, the fact that they've been able basically to match Saginaw win for win, and they picked up an extra point on Saginaw on Sunday because Saginaw lost in Ottawa, so that point actually comes into play a little bit right now. So for them, it's just a matter of playing good hockey, and for the most part, I'm sure there are some things that they're going to want to tinker with from last weekend, but for the most part, they played 2 pretty decent games.
So the Hounds now 31-10-5-1 this season, 47 games, 68 points, 4 points behind London for the lead in the Western Conference, 4 points ahead of the Saginaw Spirit, who are at 64 points, right behind the Soo Greyhounds. And you obviously got the Guelph Storm, who've been pretty hot in their last 10 for 6-10, and obviously Saginaw 8-2 in their last 10, but the Hounds have been able to match that, 8-1-1 in their last 10. Just absolute dominance from the top hold of that Western Conference. And obviously, just going to go over to the East for a second. Ottawa still leading the charge, 35-9-3 over there with 8-2 in the last 10. But watch out for Niagara and even Sudbury. Sudbury in third place, Niagara in second, 67 points, Sudbury with 59 points. Now, Brad, the Hounds this weekend, final thing before we let you go, they play Thursday, which is a couple days from now, January the 31st, 7 o'clock. They play in Niagara, and then they play Friday, February the 1st against Erie in Erie, and that's at 7 o'clock. And then on Sunday the 3rd, they play against Oshawa at 2 o'clock. They're back home next Wednesday against Sudbury at 7:07, so make sure sure you get your tickets there at the box office through Monday and Friday through the Sault Ste. grounds at the GFL Memorial Gardens. But for the games this weekend, Brad, 3 games. They have 3 games in 4 nights. The Hounds, what are you expecting from the Greyhounds this weekend? And what has been the status of practice this week, or kind of so far what you've heard early this week going into the weekend?
Yeah, it's a tough road trip. I mean, it's a long trip. This is a kind of a key stretch right now, because they see Niagara twice over the next, I believe it's over the next 3 weeks. They see Niagara twice, which are 2 big games because Niagara loaded up. And, this is a team that, they're a little banged up. Roman Puchek's battling an injury right now. Local product Cole McKay's been a little banged up from the last road trip, but McKay, it sounds like, talking to John Dean on Sunday, McKay, it sounds like he's, day-to-day, could potentially play this weekend. Puchek might be a little further out than that, so that, they're not sure that he's going to get into action this weekend. The big thing for them is they get Jaromir Pitlick back in the lineup. He missed both games over the weekend due to a league suspension. He was suspended for a hit on Adam Ruzicka in the Sudbury game a week ago Sunday on the road. So
Jaromir
back in the lineup, that's huge for them.
Yeah.
That kind of shores up their top line again. He'll probably go back on the line with Morgan Frost. So that's going to be big for them. And for them again, it's we talked about Lake State kind of keeping things status quo and just basically riding the system. And if you're the Greyhounds, that's what you're doing this weekend. You're going on a long road trip. Don't do anything different. Basically do what's got you to this point. I mean, you've won 31 games to this point for a reason. Just keep things status quo and, run with what got you here. So, I don't expect too many changes aside from, maybe some line adjustments as guys get back into the lineup.
See, the Hounds this year, you know what? I remember people saying, Brad, at the beginning of the year, how the Hounds, people thought they'd be in the middle of the conference. Bottom of the conference may struggle. Then you had some other people who are really in tune with the Hounds and also believing in this team. And obviously, they have shown that they are for real and they're contending very well in their Western Conference. And throughout this, you know what? They have a high chance of coming out of that Western Conference this year. It's going to be a tougher road maybe than it was last year in terms of some team improvements. But this team is certainly exciting to watch for sure, and make sure that you get tickets for when they play against Sudbury when they come home next Wednesday. Make sure you keep in touch with the updates for the Thursday, Friday, and Sunday game. Brad, I know you've come on by here through the phone, and it's been a great setup here, recording through the phone, through the computer. I've mastered this technology, I think. It's taken only about 4.5, 5 years for me to master this technology. But either way, I want to say thank you, my good friend, for taking time to come on by and talk about Lake State and the Hounds. Too bad you're not here enjoying a beverage with me, but your presence is appreciated either way, my friend.
Anytime, Paul. And you know what? We'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do next week, and maybe I'll get a chance to come by after the Hound game. We'll do the Sunday show. We'll do the typical Sunday show. We'll get settled in, and we'll do it. We'll kick it old school, as they say, as the kids say these days.
We'll kick it old school, and we'll have a couple of pops, as they say. We'll have some healthy pops. And that's a good way to put it.
I'm game.
It's Dave McCaig, and this was Brad Coccimiglio joining us here at Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill for the Twin Sault's only local regional and national sports show, The Game Sports Show. We're going to take a quick break. We got Coach Arbour coming on in, and Jamie Antonello will be joining us as well here at Icebreakers to continue our show here from Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill. Thank you to Brad again. And listeners, we've got more content locally and additional content coming your way. The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Pulling Museum right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course, all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company. It's a northern thing. The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sports Center Bar and Grill. Sports Center Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sports Center rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sports Center, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sports Center Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, live from Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill. It's David McCaig. I'm here alongside Jamie Antonello. We have a special guest coming on by that I'm going to let Jamie introduce in just a few moments. Just a quick little spur to you listeners. If you're listening to the show through the Facebook page or the Instagram page, which is at the Game Sports Show or at the Game Sports Show SSM, respectively, don't hesitate to hit like and or follow, and make sure that you keep an eye on our Facebook page. We have a Facebook Live update coming up by the end of the week for our like giveaway contest. Big value prize getting given out to the winner, who gets drawn out of a hat for simply just liking our Facebook page. And you're listening to the Twin Sault's only local, regional, national sports show on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or through the Scott Nason YouTube channel. Now, continuing the show, I'm going to say hi to you first, Jamie. Thanks for coming on by, pal.
How's it going, Dave?
I'm doing good, man.
It's weird not being here not on a Wednesday, I'm not going to lie.
Right, have you ever been on the show not on a Wednesday?
The occasional Thursday.
Yeah, you did come to
Boston
Boston Pizza Days. Yeah, that's true.
I was called up in a relief. I felt like the local emergency goaltender that you call up when everybody's injured.
I got you like on call. Like you have your set shift Wednesday, but you got the on call going for the Thursdays, Sundays.
Pretty much.
You like that. Dane has no excuse not to be here, Justin is here 3 times a week, so he gets an excuse. But Dane has no excuse. But without further ado, I want you to introduce our next guest. I've never actually given anyone the pleasure to introduce a guest before. This is actually the first time, unless you're Scott Nason. So I'm going to let you introduce our next guest here on the Game Sports Show.
This is big, relinquishing power. No, we have Greg Arbour on. He's head coach of Korah High School Hockey, teacher at Korah, and also the athletic director. So we got lots to talk about. Welcome to the show, Greg.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So I had the pleasure of having Greg as he was our quarterbacks coach, believe it or not, back in the Dunn days, junior football, 2006, throwing it back.
Wow.
But the main thing we want to talk about today first is high school hockey. You guys are sitting in second place currently, right behind St. Mary's. It's been a tight race. It's been a pretty even league from everything I've talked to you about. Just kind of, if you give us just a quick rundown of the season so far. I know you guys have been on several tournaments, and the kind of the outlook of your team so far.
Sure, yeah. It's been a great season so far. The parity in our league has never been better, to be honest, with all 4 teams being really competitive and anybody can win on any given night. I mean, as far as the Korah hockey program goes, we've come a long way. This is my 9th year as the head coach, 10th year with the program. And this year, I would say that our group is the most complete we've ever had. We're currently tied for first right now. With St. That's okay. With St. Mary's.
You blew it.
With St. Mary's having one game in hand.
Right.
But the season's been great. We go on 3 tournaments. We've competed well in those tournaments against some of the best high school hockey programs in the province. We go to Ottawa, Niagara Falls, and Peterborough, and have fared well in those tournaments. I'd like to think that our local league here has prepared us to fare well against other programs in the province. So we're excited. We've got 2 regular season games left here, and we're into our stretch run, and we're going to welcome the playoffs, and hopefully we're playing our best at the right time.
High school hockey has always been a good point here in Sault Ste. Marie. Even if you play, it doesn't matter if you play in AAA hockey, it doesn't matter if you play Soo Major or even high school hockey. If you're a good enough hockey player, I was always told a quote, if you're good enough, you'll be found. It doesn't matter what league, it doesn't matter what division, it does not matter what. And the high school league, has definitely changed over the years. Can you talk about kind of the changes that maybe have occurred the past few years, or even what you like about the high school and how you can promote high school hockey in Sault Ste. Marie?
Certainly. Yeah, over the past, I would say, about 8 years now, the caliber of hockey player that chooses the high school hockey path has significantly increased, to say the least. We get a lot of kids, even now opting after their minor midget year, which is in grade 10, to play high school hockey. And a lot of the times it's the AAA kid. So that's different in years past. Typically it's been the AA or House League kid, which is great, and those players have been fantastic for our program and for our league. But it's nice to get some kids at the AAA level, and more that has been the case. We move a lot of kids on from high school to the NOJHL. Some kids from our league have even gone on to play professionally. and have gotten scholarships as well. So we're proud of that. We're looking to continue to grow our league. I think locally here, it's parents and kids have really seen the value in playing high school sports. And the one great thing that enables, I guess, the hockey player playing high school hockey is enables them to play other sports at the high school level. Yeah. I know at Korah Collegiate, we promote heavily being a multi-sport athlete. We think that's going to make you a better, in my case, a hockey player. But if you choose to play football and basketball, it's the complete high school sport experience that's a real advantage and benefit for the growth of the high school hockey player.
See, now, and Jamie mentioned you being in the athletic director position. Now, later on here on the Game Sports Show, it's going to be on a Thursday edition of February. We're having Dave Marasco from Montgomery University come on by with a Soo Greyhound player who we're not announcing as of yet, kind of leaving that point. But education and in sports.
Yes.
Now, that is definitely important, especially with high school hockey as well. Can you explain how that approach, as the athletic director and being a coach, how you can handle that and what you promote for your students and even just overall for kids, any kind of advice you can provide for the importance of education?
Sure. Being a student athlete, we look at it exactly in that order, in that priority. You're a student first and an athlete second. Speaking from a coach's perspective, the one advantage being a teacher and being a coach is that I can actively consult with parents and meet with students about their progress in each of their courses and their grades. So, that's very attractive for parents, obviously, but, as a student, that's a great resource to have, too, if your coach is in the building. That allows you to do some creative things as a coach. But, academics is always at the forefront of what we do at Korah Collegiate, and, it's the same at other schools, too. I know other coaches at other high schools, and obviously they preach the same thing. So, playing high school sports and being a student athlete, there's nothing quite like playing for your school, apart from a sponsor, if you will. And it's great to be a part of that camaraderie and that culture. But from a Korah perspective, we like to establish a culture of academics with athletics, with a focus on academics. So
you also grow as a person, right? Jamie, you learn from the classroom and teach you those responsibilities to be able to balance that in life. And hockey may not be the end goal in your life, or football, whatever sport that you're playing.
Yep.
Especially you with hockey, you got to have that importance of education involved, because it gives you that opportunity to play hockey at the next level potentially as well, because if you have attractive grades, maybe a school will come after you.
Certainly. And you just look locally here in Sault Ste. Marie with the Soo College program.
Yeah, that's evolving.
That's right. And I see a perfect segue from players in our league moving on to Soo College locally here. So, there's some great opportunity to carry on your academics and play a collegiate sport at the next level. No question.
It definitely seems like that the Korah program has their, let's say, SHIT straight with hiring staff. Don't you think, Jamie? I know you're one of the staff members, but...
Well, I feel like it some days. I know Greg probably gets annoyed because half the time he comes in during September and October, and I'm sitting in his chair when he comes back from class. But, Tom says it all the time when we've had him on, and everything starts with administration and Sergio. And yes. I know you feel the same way. And
absolutely.
It's just the stress he puts on, and even looking at like the Korah Super Bowl draw, and that benefits every program within the school.
Yes.
But just the passion he puts into that, and he loves encouraging people to play sports, and I know it's a big thing for you guys having that support from him. Oh,
no question. I'm glad you brought that up. Mr. Ayako has been a real supporter of athletics, but being a colleague of his, it's his leadership and how he conducts himself with a real emphasis on developing leaders. Yeah. And no one does it better than him. His philosophy on education extends beyond the classroom. And that's where, I can relate and other coaches relate. And being an athletic director, we try and work with our coaches that they're not only coaches, but they're in a learning environment, if you will, just like the classroom. And Mr. Iacco has been the leader and preacher of that philosophy, and he is just a great resource and a great leader to have in our building, no question.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we could probably talk about Surge and the whole Korah program forever.
No question.
But before we get too far into the hockey season here,
yes,
just want to talk to you more about being an athletic director. And I know as a football coach, I kind of have it easy. You start the year, grades don't really come in. You don't get midterms until season's over.
Sure.
Coaching the hockey season, you got to get kids through exams, and then it's basically playoffs as soon as you're done that.
Yep.
But just seeing kids through the whole year, and especially the guys that struggle,
yep.
Just your experiences as an AD and how that kind of perspective changes, because you got to think about every single sport.
Yeah.
And I know you share in the office with Tom, you get a lot of football focus. It's football and hockey like crazy in that room, but you got to think about the rest of the sports in the school too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we treat at Korah, we treat all sports on the same level. Some sports get a little more notoriety, they get a little more press than others, but in our building, if you're an athlete, you're part of the club. So, you know, I can speak in Korah. My job's very easy. I got a lot of great people, with Mr. Iacco being one of them. But Tom Annett, as you know, is a great resource to have, sharing ideas. And I really look at it as not me solely as the athletic director, but I look at it as a shared role, to be honest. There's so many great leaders in our school that contribute to the overall athletic philosophy that, you know, it's a privilege to be, you know, in that role. But it's a real fun building to be in, work with coaches where they genuinely care about kids, the development of kids. You know, as an athletic program, we really put an emphasis about 3 or 4 years ago on leadership and developing character first. And that's really sort of revived the culture in our school from an athletic perspective. I know about 5 or 6 years ago, we struggled with not only wins and losses across multiple sports, but just the image that our own student body had of themselves.
And culture is the big thing you said there.
That's right. That's right. And you know, having Mr. Iacco as a principal and other teachers, like-minded teachers that share that same philosophy, it trickles down. Like any great company, you need leadership at the top, and it resonates throughout the rest. So we're blessed at Korah to have great coaches. We got great students. We got a good thing going on there right now, and hopefully we can just keep it going in the future. And
I'd be remiss if we didn't bring up your female counterpart, Ms. Palchiccio, and yes, the role she plays. And I mean, because that's different. You got a lot more dynamics than like traditional like gym teacher, coach one sport. With being an AD, you got to deal with the female side as well. And I know you guys come together for a lot of sports. I mean, biggest one being track at the end of the year. Yes, Ms. Palchiccio is great. So just to clarify, I'm the male athletic director at Korah. She's the female athletic director at Korah. So she deals with all the female side of athletics, and she's been just a great addition to Korah since coming over from White Pines. And our female athletic program speaks for itself, and the long, rich success that they've endured over the last 10 years has been fantastic. I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention two people in particular that really put Korah at the forefront, and that's Gary Cormier, who was the athletic director before myself. I was going to ask you about Corms in a bit, but you beat me to it. And Janice Hogan from the female perspective. I mean, those two really set the standard. They've both been mentors to me. I still talk to them, to this day, but their unselfishness and their leadership really resonated with me on a professional level. So they've set the standard. Yep. We've carried on their philosophies. We'd like to think that, and hopefully move forward and get bigger and better as we go along here. And hopefully win another Winslade. Yes, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Winning is the goal ultimately at the end, all right? Everyone wants to hoist that trophy at the end, right? And get time with the boys at the end. I know I'm down for that. But you know what? Transition to the hockey side. Upcoming games.
Yes.
You got any upcoming games that you could promote schedule-wise, or even some events, fundraisers? I know for Korah Colts football, you guys had your fundraiser for NASA, or I think it might have been offside the Esquire. Jamie, we had a pub going. Yeah. A pub, so I don't know if you have any of that kind of stuff going on, but just a little publicity for your schedule coming up and even some events.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot going on in the athletics world now as the winter sports, in the
Arctic
heading
outside.
in the Arctic outside are heading into a playoff run here. Most sports are heading into a playoff run. So, I mean, where do we start? We'll start with basketball. The boys' basketball season's winding down as well, with the city finals being on February 16th. Playoffs begin that week. I believe the first playoff game is February 12th, I believe, or 13th. I'm not quite certain about the exact date. We have the City Curling Championships that take place February 12th at the Community First Curling Center. I believe that's what it's called.
Nailed it.
For high school hockey, playoffs officially begin February 11th. And
right around the corner.
Right around the corner, so
Christ.
Here we go down the stretch run. And what other sport am I missing here? I think I'm gonna hear
girls
it.
Girls
volleyball.
There you go.
Thank you. With their Final Four being February 14th. So a lot happening in a short amount of time here as semester 2 gets underway. But a lot of great things too and exciting times ahead.
When's Coach Baswell would kill us if we didn't talk about wrestling at least a little bit.
Of course,
especially
wrestling.
on the female side.
Yes.
Female wrestlers like crazy because that's a good class.
Yes, and you know what? Our wrestling program at Korah Collegiate has been outstanding with the leadership of Trevor Manchester and Will Baswell leading the way there. So sorry for missing the wrestlers there.
I just know Will would give us shit.
Sorry, Will.
Now, for a game for you, when's the next set of high school games? Obviously, are you done until playoff?
No, we have 2 regular season games remaining. We head to Thessalon and play Cass on Friday night, and then we turn around and play Cass again on Monday here at the Rhodes at 3:30. So. Practice tomorrow, and then game Friday, and then Monday, and then here comes the playoffs.
That's quite the barn, eh?
It's still a good barn down there. It's a classic.
It is, and believe me, it is a tough building to play in.
Oh yeah.
Cass comes to play that game. We were fortunate enough to get them the first time there this year, but that was the first game we've won in 5 years there. And no, they're always tough to play there. I mean, the community gets out and supports it. It's always a Friday night game. It's exciting for our kids.
It's definitely Cass. They always get a lot of their student body out there for those weekend games as well. And make sure you on Monday for 3:30, come on by the Roads and watch the old pad or new pad.
It's the old pad.
It is the old pad. So make sure you come out to the old pad on Monday to check out some Korah Coles as they take on the Cass Huskies.
Correct.
Still can't forget that name, the Cass Huskies. But we're going to transition to more of a looser kind of conversation. We've promoted the high school end and talking. Yourself.
Sure.
You're a baseball guy.
I am.
You are a baseball guy. And, on our Thursday show of the Game Sports Shows where we kind of have my 3 up, 3 down segment in the off-season, and in the in-season, I like to call it, we have our discussion about the season that's going on, and we have our Jays, we have a topic about being in the birdcage. So just your perspective on experience playing baseball, and tell the listeners about your experiences playing and just your overall love for the game.
Sure. No, I owe a lot to baseball, to be quite honest. I mean, I'm a sports junkie, quite honestly.
You're a Green Bay Packer fan.
I am a huge Packer diehard fan. But no, baseball's been very good to me. After high school, I chose to go the baseball road. I had some opportunities there and went to play in the States for a year, and then transferred over to Brock University. Nice. And from there, really set the path to my baseball career. I was fortunate enough to win 2 national championships with the Brock Badgers, and I did a degree in sport management there. And after my baseball career was over, my love for the game still was there. So after I was done university, I decided to go to George Brown and take a postgrad in marketing. Nice. And had the opportunity to get an internship with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Nice.
And
I almost forgot to mention that, but I wanted you to say it. That was setting up for you to say it.
Yeah. And ended up, long story short, worked in various capacities with the Jays organization. Stayed there for 5 years, 5 seasons. Some real neat stories. And
were you there for the bat flip?
I was there well before that. I was there in the Carlos Delgado, Vernon Wells, Roy Halladay days.
Vernon Wells days.
Vernon Wells.
Roy
Halladay was your tail end there?
Doc was our guy. And we always love Doc because you know that
Consistency.
when he started, you know you're out of the building in less than 2 hours. He was
there's a W coming on the board for
Yeah,
sure.
no,
Either way, you're getting a win.
he was special, yeah.
That experience with the Jays just must have been so cool. And you go to school at Brock and you take the sports management program, then you go do the marketing at George
Brown, yeah.
Brown. So all that work must have paid off as soon as you signed on that dotted line to sign up for the Jays and saw that you were there working for them.
Yeah, it's surreal. You're just like anybody else, and then you're thrust into working with the players, in my case, and celebrities that come to the building for first pitches, and that was part of my role, taking care of them.
That's so cool.
But you quickly realize that they're just people too, and they're just everyday people like yourselves. That's what was the most refreshing to see. They're celebrities and they're thrust into the public eye, no question, rightfully so. But then when you talk to them off the record, they're just people. And it was really refreshing to see. So a lot of cool stories, and a lot of great people that I still meet and still keep in contact with.
Who was the coolest person that you got to deal with the Jays? Like taking out for a first pitch or even anything?
Two would have to that come to mind. I got to hang out with Slash from Guns N' Roses.
That's pretty sweet.
For a couple of innings. That was pretty neat. Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, cool.
He was great too.
See any movie ever?
Yeah.
He's in it.
I mean, one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen was Barry Bonds was playing for the San Francisco Giants, and at that time, that's when he was, making big league parks look like little league parks, and his batting practice was a spectacle. And
I can't even imagine.
And the Rogers Center at the time was, a full capacity to watch him hit batting practice, and I remember standing around the cage there, and the sound of the ball off his bat was absolutely incredible. Like
that's the stuff that sticks with you, eh?
Yeah, it was like a golf ball. It was like somebody teeing off a golf ball, and it was just gone. So it was pretty cool, no question. So some pretty cool people that I've met, celebrities, some great baseball people too. And
Still playing any ball?
No, I
You should
don't.
play hardball on my men's league team. I'm
I'm
going to try to recruit
thinking
you
about
now.
making a comeback.
I'm going to convince them to come back and win a title.
Because I knew you played baseball for Brock and the national championships, but what'd you play? Like, what's your some memories maybe you remember from those national championship teams?
Yes. So I pitched. I was a starting pitcher. I played when I first got to Brock. I'm left-handed, right? So I was limited to what I could play. So I played first center, and I pitched. In my second year, I just solely pitched, and went on to do some great things. Ended up putting us in the national final. Both I pitched the semifinal game, and both we went back to back.
How many pitches were in your bag? How many did you have?
I was a 3-pitch pitcher.
Nice.
I could
Fastball,
change it.
Slider, curveball.
I was fast curve change.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a terrible curveball. I had a
throw
decent
I
fastball.
was gonna say, did you just throw heat then? What was the fastest you ever got clocked at?
I was around 86.
It's quick, man.
86, 87. Yeah.
It's quick.
Yeah, I can spot it well, and I can change speeds well. But my breaking stuff wasn't very good.
No.
I'm going to say it right now. The Game Sports Show baseball team lost in the finals. We were called the Renegades last year. We lost in the finals. We need to make some improvements. I need one more spot filled. So any people thinking they're going to reach out to Arbs, sorry, I'm already there. Just to let everybody know, I'm going to be competing to sign you to a contract.
No, I think I'd
some actual hardball too. Some actual hardball, so something you're familiar with.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd
you know
be
what?
fun.
I love the sport. I mean, obviously my passion right now is hockey. But like I said, I love all sports. But the sport of baseball, there's a lot of downtime, and the conversations you have with the guys in the dugout is the best part.
Spin sunflower seeds, or sometimes in our case, we can open up a nice beer.
Being a pitcher, I don't know how it worked at that level, but what was your rotation? How many starting pitchers did you have?
In the CIS, we played on weekends. So you played 2 or 3 games every weekend. So you had the week to recover.
Right.
So you always. You played what felt like every game or every second game, essentially, right? So,
but still, being a pitcher, I mean, you have the most downtime on the team.
Oh, absolutely, no question.
So you're in the dugout.
Yeah, and you're a cheerleader at that time, right? And you're joking around with the guys, and that's what you miss. Obviously, everybody says that's what you miss. So
you always miss what you've done before. Like hockey is the same for me. Football must be the same for you, Jamie. Baseball for yourself. But obviously, we're all doing what we love. well, I'm not really in love with human resources work, but mind you, love doing the show. You love coaching.
Yes.
Obviously, being part of the Korah Collegiate, they're the athletic director. Jamie, you're coaching. I think we've said this on air, but you're also leaving town soon, which is eventually, which I
hope he never leaves.
Hope he never, me either. Hope he never leaves
Yeah,
either.
I put Arbs in a tough spot. He's the AD. He's got to deal with replacing the junior football coach.
Yeah, he's going to convince you
Big
to stay.
shoes to
I think he's going to. I think over under. I think you're going to stay. I'm calling it. I'm calling it right now. You're going to stay. So, Greg, I want to say thank you for coming on by. As always, we're a little time constraints as always. Jamie, Greg, thanks for coming on by, and we'll have you on the show again. You do baseball.
Yes.
We're going to have you on our
Yeah.
Thursday show. We can have you by here on Sundays, and even after the playoff that runs down, we can have you come back on and just give us an update on the local high school hockey scene. I almost said football scene. So used to saying football. So
No problem. Thanks for having me. Really
Of course.
appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
Of course.
Before we let you go, just remind us next Korah game and when hockey playoffs start for high school.
Sure. Hockey playoffs start February 12th. That's when we start our first game. The game will be at the McMeekin at 3:30. But we have two games, one being this coming Friday in Thessalon against Cass, and then the following Monday. So you can follow at Korah Hockey on Instagram and
And it's a
get all our
14
scheduling
loop
updates.
this year, so semifinals, you said best of 3 series.
Correct.
One will play 4, 2 playing 3, and then best of 5 for the finals, correct?
You got it.
Right on.
Look at that. There we go. We told the listeners twice the schedule, so they have no excuse to get their ass in the seats here. Okay, the John Rhodes on Monday, or even to Thessalon. That's a barn to go visit. Go visit that barn.
exactly.
And they have a
That's good
canteen
Northern
there
Ontario
still. They
hockey.
still got the fries in the canteen. Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah.
They still have that. I know it's
Yeah.
maybe not as good as the Rankin fries. People like to say the Rankin fries, but there's stuff there. You can keep warm.
It's chilly in there, too.
Yeah, it's a little chilly, but I don't think it's as cold as it would be outside right now. Minus 30
It's a little
degrees.
chilly
It's
outside,
ridiculous. A little bit
I keep
ridiculous.
forgetting things. I gotta keep adding on. I know you're the first one to say that Tommy's got the Instagram game going, but
Yes.
Korah Hockey's Instagram has been going. I know you're running that account.
Yes.
And
Please don't compare us to the at Korah Football Instagram page.
It's
That
tough.
is a spectacle.
Tommy
tough.
and it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Oh,
That is
he's-
impressive.
Yeah,
No, but you're doing a good
that-
job. I mean, it's the hashtag game's coming along.
Yeah,
and
I'm not
It's
a-
good for the boys.
You know what? He's been after me to start a Korah Hockey Instagram page for a couple of years. I'm not a big social media guy, but
You're doing a good job.
I hear you. I hear you.
so I'm coming around to it. You know what? We do it for the kids. The kids love it.
Absolutely.
So that's why we do it.
Nice.
It's always about others, seems like, other than yourself, right? Always trying to make everybody happy in terms of here. So we do here on the Game Sports Show. But when we come back, it's just going to be yours truly for about the last 5 minutes of the show. So hopefully not too annoyed with my voice. I want to say thanks to Greg for coming on by, Coach Arbs, be the nickname here, and Jamie. Thanks for taking the time to come out here on a Tuesday, bracket, supposed to be Sunday, bracket. But we'll see you tomorrow at Sports Center.
Yeah, man. I'm excited.
Super Bowl preview show. Super Bowl this Sunday. Listeners, don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, David McCaig. Got our final part of the show coming up right after these messages. The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Pulling Museum right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course, all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company. It's a northern thing.
Get Wicked Catering from the crew at the Wicked Sister.
We like to think of ourselves as foodies. While our favorite foods are paired with a beer tasting at the Wicked Sister, you can now have the same creative menu for your next catered business luncheon, family get-together, wedding, or holiday party. Our white truffle risotto appeals to your gluten-free and vegetarian guests. Add sautéed shrimp or freshly grilled chicken for a pop of protein. Or let us build you a custom menu to suit your needs. From plated events of 15 to buffets for 200, the Wicked Sister will cater your event with tapas, snacks, cravables, or a full sit-down dinner.
The Wicked Sister, where you'll be treated like family, whether you like it or not.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank a list of additional sponsors. North Shore Sports and Auto, new location located on 647 McDonald Avenue, Sault Ste. Marie. A family-owned and operated business with doing business in Sault Ste. Marie for over 10 years. Loads of products available for your enjoyment for all seasons. North Shore Sports and Auto, we understand the importance of quality service and products, and we work hard to ensure that all customers have a positive experience before and after each and every sale. North Shore Sports and Auto, meeting all of your new and pre-owned equipment needs. Special thanks to Salon. The Salon, located on 589 2nd Line East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Mike Cuglietta. Book your appointment today at 705-941-9191 or via online at https://thesalonsoo.as.me-. The Salon, making the Soo beautiful, one haircut at a time. As well as a shout out to the Superior Pro Shop. The Superior Pro Shop, located inside the Community First Credit Union Superior Arena on 285 Northern Avenue East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Jeremy Paquin and ran by Larry Monroe. Superior Pro Shop, for over 40 years, meet all of your skate sharpening, skate repair, and hockey needs. Also to Discover the Canvas. Discover the Canvas, located on 317 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. A beautiful, new renovated building owned and operated by expert artist and Sioux native Katrina Thibodeau. Katrina taking her talents of the ink in Sault Ste. Marie and truly creating the best and most realistic art locally. Call Katrina today at 705-450-8099 or email her at discoverthecanvas@gmail.com to book your tattoo or consultation today. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. It's Dave McCaig here live at Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill. You're listening to the show on thegamesportshow.podbean.com, thegamesportshow.com, or through the Scott Neeson YouTube channel. And as I said previously on the show, if you're listening to us through Facebook and or Instagram, don't hesitate to follow us. That is on Instagram, or like us on our Facebook page. And make sure to keep an eye on our Facebook page as we have our like giveaway coming up at the end of this week as well. Dave McCaig here, continuing the show. Going to get through the last bit of the local hockey coverage and a little bit of a bonus discussion here from a hockey standpoint, and also with promotions to other shows later on this week. Getting to the Sault College Cougars hockey team, and to give them a little shout out. They are still waiting to get back into action. They have their next games on February the 8th and 9th at Central Michigan is when they return to action. The Sault College Cougars hockey team have been off since Sunday the 13th after the 9-0 victory over Liberty at the University of Miami, Ohio. The Sault College Cougars have an overall record of 18-2-1 and have a win streak currently at 9, and they're 4-0 at home, 9-2-1 on the road. The Sault College Cougars hockey team definitely doing extremely well and have some great talent. You can follow the Sault College Cougars hockey team through their website, www.saultcougars.ca/sports/ACHA, and you should be able to direct it right through the Google page to make sure that you find them to look at their remaining games, as they do have 4 games remaining with the trip to Central Michigan and then to Davenport the weekend following the 15th and 16th of February. Transitioning to the NOJHL, as it was a busy week last week in the NOJHL, especially if you are talking about the Sault Thunderbirds. The Sault Thunderbirds last week played on Tuesday last week, as we mentioned on the Thursday edition of the Game Sports Show, but they did have more games. They played Friday, which was January the 25th, winning 4-3 against the Blind River Beavers, and then Sunday, the Sault Thunderbirds played against the Elliott Lake Wildcats, and the final score in that game was by a score of 6-1. The Sault Thunderbirds had a perfect week last week with improving their NOJHL record to 34-9-0-1, 69 points in the Western Division. And the Sault Thunderbirds have clinched a playoff spot along with the Rayside Balfour Canadians and the Blind River Beavers, and also the Sault Eagles. Rayside is behind the Thunderbirds with 54 points and still having 3 games in hand, being 25-18-2-2. Blind River and the Sault Eagles. Blind River and the Eagles only separated by 3 points. Blind River 21-16-4-2, as the Eagles are 21-19-2-1. And speaking of those Sault Eagles, the Sault Eagles last weekend were in action on Thursday and Friday. They played against the Rayside Balfour Canadians, winning 4-3 on Thursday in Rayside, and then Friday they played on the 25th, as I mentioned, against Espanola, winning by a score of 6-5. Some tight games there for the Sault Eagles, but it's good for them to grind out a win as they go into this weekend. Being also on the road, they play Thursday, January the 21st, where we'll be actually live at Northern Superior Brewery Company when they get underway in Blind River. That's at 7 o'clock. And on Friday, they play in Elliott Lake at 7:30. And then they also play Monday in Elliott Lake at 7 o'clock. They don't return home until next weekend, which will be February the 9th. which will be playing as the Sioux Thunderbirds as they play the Sioux Thunderbirds in a home-and-home next weekend here in Sault Ste. Marie at the John Rhodes Community Centre first on the Friday, and then they are home. The Eagles are at the Polar against the Sioux Thunderbirds for the border battle. And make sure you watch the NOJHL games. They're live on the Hockey TV. You can watch Sioux Eagles. You can watch the Thunderbirds, the Blind River Beavers, or all the NOJHL hockey teams as it is getting towards playoff time. Only a little bit of this month and next month to go until we are into playoff time in the NOJHL. And I can't believe as the season already comes to a close. And we also hope to have head coach John Parko come on the show sometime this week. We're unable to get him on for tonight's show due to time constraint and the guests that we had come on by here today. So we hope to have John come on by. And as the Sioux Thunderbirds are in action this upcoming week, on the 4th is their next matchup. They are off this weekend. And we're a weekend off for the Thunderbirds as they played Monday, February the 4th in Blind River at 7 o'clock. Then, as I mentioned, they have the home-and-home with the Sioux Eagles starting Friday here at Sioux, Ontario at the John Rhodes Community Centre, and then Saturday at the Polar Stadium. Then they have another Monday game in Blind River the following week as well. So a lot of different dates. Make sure you check out the Sioux Eagles website or the Sioux Thunderbirds website to get a hold of the schedule to make sure that you're able to attend the games here. And make sure for the NOJHL that you do take time to come on by to enjoy the great talent that we have. The Thunderbirds, as I mentioned, leading the way in the NOJHL and the Western Division with 69 points. And the Sioux Eagles are a great team to watch as well, as they are 6-0-1. And in the past 10, they're 8-1-1. So the Eagles are definitely coming on as they battle to try to move up in the Western Division to try to get ahead of the Blind River Beavers. Transitioning from the local hockey scene, I'm going to have a bonus topic here. Talking here on the Game Sports Show. The Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Jake Muzzin from the Los Angeles Kings for a first-round pick this year. Sean Dirtsey, the rights to him, and also Carl Grundstrom going over to the Los Angeles Kings. A lot of people are saying that this is a steep trade. However, I'm just going to tell you from my end, this was not a steep trade. Not because I know Jake Muzzin from a personal level, but just because of him being a Stanley Cup winner, being a World Championship participant, being under the helm of Babcock in that championship, and also just being the style of defenseman that he is. He's a left-shot defenseman that plays on the right side or the left side. He has the ability to put up offensive numbers. And here's a fun fact. He led, the Los Angeles Kings in block shots and in hits. And let me get this stat over to you. He was a plus 10. Jake Muzzin was a plus 10 for the Los Angeles Kings with a goal differential in the negatives. You tell me that the Leafs played a lot for this? Potentially. We don't know what that first-round pick might turn out to be. We know it's going to be a late first-round pick, and we also hope, if you're a Toronto fan, that it's going to be a 31st pick. But realistically speaking, you're looking to have a lower 10 pick in terms of being, let's say, at least 23 and up, potentially, maybe 20 and up. You might be giving away a prospect that might turn out, potentially. However, you get Muzzin for the remainder of this year. You get additional 13 games from the deadline, and you get him all of next year with a cap hit of only $4 million. Jake Muzzin is a great fit for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and also he is going to be he's already one of their best defensemen. He just bolstered their blue line. Now, who's he going to play with? Babcock will have that remain to be seen once the practices get underway as they prepare for their action in Detroit on Friday, as they have their their back-to-back game, against Detroit and then against the Pittsburgh Penguins on Saturday. Muzzin is projected to be in the lineup for those games, obviously, and Kyle Dubas obviously acquiring Muzzin as he has familiarity with him, obviously with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds of sorts, and Muzzin having a lot of friends here in Sioux, Ontario that were very excited about the trade, as yours truly was, and hopefully we're able to get Jake to come on the show sometime soon to get some comments, despite if it's in the near future, a bit more in the future as the season goes on. But let me tell you, when Jake Muzzin goes to Toronto, he's going to bring an aspect to that team that's going to make people battle for the lineup. For ice time. Jake Gardner, Nikita Zaitsev, Igor Oshiganov, even Travis Dermott. He's going to make them battle, as Muzzin is going to be taking away a lot of ice time. But there's one person he is going to be taking away ice time from that might give a little bit of positive. Not because he's bad, but Ron Hainsey. This guy's been playing way more minutes. So I feel that he should. It's going to be able to bring down his minutes a little bit and keep him rested, and also maybe to be able to to mentor young Travis Dermott. This is all positives here, and let me tell you right now, I don't think Dubas is done. He still wants to maybe add a backup goaltender for Frederick Anderson still, as I don't think Sparks or Hutchinson is going to be the answer just in case of injury. I still think he would consider adding another defenseman in terms of another defensive defenseman. I don't think you're going to see an Alex Pietrangelo or a Colton Parenko or even a Jakub Slavin anytime soon, but you might be able to see a Radko Gudas. You might even take a gamble at a Chris Tanev in Vancouver if the price is right. But there's some moves over in Toronto that could still happen, as I don't think Dubas is done. I still think he has 2 moves left under his sleeve. Now, that's all I'm going to talk about with the Muzzin trade that had happened. My kind of brief opinion, and then I don't think the Toronto Maple Leafs are done, and that the fans should take a breath and enjoy this. We have a very good hockey team here, and we should be enjoying that former Soo Greyhound and defenseman at the caliber of Jake Muzzin is going to Toronto, and he's going to be there for beyond this year. Myself, Dane, and Justin will expand on the Jake Muzzin deal amongst the other hot topics in the National Hockey League, and also with the Toronto Maple Leafs as we go on our Thursday show from Northern Superior Brewing Company. And we're just going to backtrack for just 1 second here, as myself, Jamie Antonello, and also hopefully Justin Heichel, amongst the usual crew of Matt Primo and Dustin Gron, and hopefully we're able to come on by to Sports Center Bar and Grill tomorrow, which will be the Super Bowl preview show from Sports Center Bar and Grill at 9 p.m. We'll be on location. We do have special guest Nathan Intercontinental Inch coming on for sure this upcoming Wednesday. His character, who's gotten quite popular here on the show, will be talking about his thoughts on the Royal Rumble and some other hot topics in WWE. As I know Scott Nason and Butch Davis, the Game Sports Show's own individuals, will love that. And also for his character, kind of, let's just say, traits, and how he's going to try to be funny and try to humor the listeners as he pretends to be a washed-up wrestler, as Intercontinental Inch will be there at Sports Center, and that'll be for this famous 75-cent wing nights. And on Thursday, myself, Justin, and Dane, and we may have a guest coming on by. We're going to be able to announce that hopefully tomorrow from Sports Center Bar and Grill. If so, we're going to be on location at Northern Superior Brewing Company. We'll be there at 7:15 this upcoming Thursday until approximately 8:15. So be there for an hour, and make sure you go on by Northern Superior Brewing Company to enjoy the presence of its tap room. Now, for this Sunday, as we said when we had Brad Coccimiglio on, we were planning to have a show here at Icebreakers. If it's going to be after the Super Bowl or before the Super Bowl, we're going to try to work out those times. I want to say sorry to the listeners for the rescheduling. As I said at the top of the show about rescheduling the last couple of shows, there's been very time constraints and schedule changes due to this local hockey scene and a lot of busyness going on in sports, but we will give a final word on Thursday from Northern Superior Brewing Company on the time of the show on Sunday, or if there will be indeed another rescheduling due to the Super Bowl, as the Game Sports Show and crew will be presenting a party at Sports Center Bar and Grill for the big matchup between the Patriots and the LA Rams. Now will be announced next week. We will not be at the Wicked Sister, or even for the next couple weeks, as Scott Nason will be away for work. So the Twin Sault's only local regional national sports show will not have a show at the Wicked Sister, but we will have our consistent shows at Sports Center Northern and at Icebreakers. And as I said, make sure to follow us on our social media pages for your chance to be in our giveaway, and also for your chance to keep in touch with the Twin Sault's only local regional and national sports show. I want to say thanks to Scott Nason, who was our board operator tonight. I want to say thanks to Jody Wilson, Mitch Wilson, and to Icebreakers Sports Bar and Grill. Also to Greg Arbour, coach of the Korah Colts hockey team, also the athletic director at Korah. I want to say thanks to Jamie Antonello, the Game Sports Show's own, for coming on by and taking time to come on a Thursday show, and of course to the Soo Today's own, Sportsnet's own, and the Game Sports Show's own, Brad Coccimiglio, for taking the time to come on by as well, and of course to you, the listeners, for enjoying the good old local sports content and some bonus content here on the Game Sports Show, and for coming by and making us a part of your night. And until tomorrow at Sports Center Bar and Grill, Dave McCaig signing off and making sure that you keep your stick on the ice, swing your bat, catch your touchdown, drain your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.